Hey everyone, welcome back to Mosh Shinobi, also streaming on the second channel Hardcore Noise. Hopefully that goes all okay. Joining me today are Void Below Killer Death Doom from the UK. How's it going, guys?
All good, thank you.
All good, yeah, not too bad. Pretty chill on a Sunday, lazy Sunday here and all that good stuff. Not looking forward to tomorrow morning, but oh well, is what it is. So one thing I always like to start off on, guys, is looking at the artwork for bands, and this one, it really caught my attention when I first got the press release and it come through. I thought, man, that's pretty killer stuff. I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation because I'm an idiot, but it's got that like Lovecraftian Cthulhu. Well, yeah, I think I said it. There's a start. It's got all that vibe in the artwork, so I just wondered who did that for you, and did you work with the artist to get that idea, or did you say to them, right, here's total free reign, go and come up with something?
I used AI for it, so it was basically, I just typed certain keywords into, obviously, AI engine, and then come up with something like that. But we added the onto it, and sort of.
It sort of saved us working with an artist as well, because obviously it's cheaper because it cost a fucking fortune for artists to do like album work and stuff like that. Plus, we could put in the aspects of what we wanted ourselves. Yeah. And obviously, if the idea didn't work out, then we could alter it and change it. And
it's a lot of altering through them to get what is needed. Well, what we all liked.
Because we probably find about 40 images that we liked and then sort of narrow them down.
Narrowed them down.
Yeah. I've always thought. No, it's all right.
We used other, for this EP, we used other AI imagery right throughout our artwork. So, it's easier and quicker to do so. And plus, we get to decide what we like.
Yeah. It's worked. I mean, it looks pretty killer. It's pretty sick stuff for sure.
Yeah, we thought also, so we went ahead and used it.
Keeps the cost.
It's going to be more original as well, isn't it? Because no one else.
It's come from you, hasn't it? Yeah. It keeps the cost down as well. That's always a good thing, right? Well, it's pretty damn impressive. That's for sure. So, before getting to talking about the music itself, I just wondered, how long have you all been interested in like Lovecraftian and all those horror themes?
It's mainly the theme come from. He's not here today. We're normally a 4-piece. He's been in hospital and he's not long got out. So
all right, no problem.
He isn't here today, but it was basically James's.
His baby.
Yeah, it's his baby, it's his idea. So we've all knew each other for a long time. So we just decided to do this, and I think it's worked out. And we've got our style and niche, and it's working for us. So
we've all sort of had experience in obviously horror and our little alternative ways and stuff like that. And we sort of all bring that as an aspect together as well as a group. Our own little influences and stuff. So it's sort of a mix of everyone. Obviously, the Lovecraft frame is more than James's influence and what he wanted to do with the band, that sort of direction. Because no one else is really doing it. But then we sort of had our own little flair to it and sort of darken it up and make it more of our type of thing.
You're right. I've only come across it a handful of times, to be honest. There used to be a crust punk band called Temple of Dagon back in the day. Kyle from that band's in like 9 Million Bands. And they did a little, and there was, funnily enough, it wasn't even a death metal band. They were on the show a while back. It was actually a stoner rock band, but the vocalist is a hardcore singer, and they went for the kind of Lovecraftian vibe, which you wouldn't think would. That's not the first thing you would think of, that it was going to go with a stoner rock band. But you're right. I've only come across it, I mean, a few times, and I think it does add something different. Though I like it when death metal bands, doom bands, Death Doom, do something different where they step out of the box. It's not always the usual stuff, which I'm not going to sit here and say I don't like any of those bands. Of course I do, but it's always nice when you hear something different, especially if it's like horror vibed. and it just goes with death metal so well. So I thought that was a really cool thing that you've got going on. You're doing, and good to hear that you're bringing in all your influences as well from each member. So that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, we also have come from different musical backgrounds as well, so that sort of helps.
He was in a punk band before.
Hey.
So we got him. So
I've only
there was no bassist about, and he plays guitar. So
I didn't really know death metal was still a few years ago. So well on the spot.
Yeah. Oh man, we speak about. I'm pretty much, extreme metal, death metal, and then hardcore punk, crust, grind, all that stuff. So that's music to my ears, man. Hearing this. So what inspired the title of the EP? Then, how did you come up with the name? Did you all work together for the title, World Undone?
It actually came from the song, but the EP itself comes off the back of the story of the first EP.
Yeah. So
we talk about Lovecraft, but what we try to do is kind of have a theme running throughout. And because each song and each theme so in depth, when we started, just to go back to the artwork, we did actually commission somebody initially for the first EP cover, and that was really popular. We backed those images up with videos on YouTube. And the way that EP flows by is the kind of the beginning of the end to the awakening to basically the end of civilization, which is the last track. This album, this EP picks up where that one left off, culminating in World Undone. And as I said, because there's so much imagery and so much script per song, that was why we went down the AI route to be able to generate exactly what we want based on the themes and the lyrics of each song. And World Undone was really meant to be that ended. And after everything was kind of all set in place, it made sense that would be the name of the EP.
It's a good, catchy title. I thought, it's really direct to the point. So starting with the first song, you've got a 7-minute opener, and the thing I noticed with listening to your music, this doesn't insult you, I can hear like an Autopsy influence, an early Morbid Angel coming through as well, like those two bands. You've got that, that beautiful mix.
The band's sort of heavily influenced by Morbid Angel and stuff as well. So.
Yeah, you can hear it.
New Rose is the outro. He's got that New Rose vibe, so that we were sort of going for the first more doomy. So yeah.
I think after the first EP as well, we just sort of wanted to go sort of darker and heavier and sort of see the extent of how we're staying in the same tuning with the guitars, obviously seeing what effect we can have by keeping the same tuning, but obviously what levels can we actually go to with this EP. So
with Eldritch, it does focus on like the elder gods, and to me there's quite like a black metal aspect to part of it, a dissonance, and I myself quite heavily into black metal, so as the lads are saying, we did want to go darker, and that song especially, we exploited that just to really play on the theme with the elder gods and the black metal side of things, and different influences, but we don't want to keep it the same. And we don't want to. I don't think we'd ever just make a full black metal, death metal song, because we've got black metalers, we've got punk, we've got all those, and as I say, Neuroses, they do those outros so well, and obviously ebb and flow is something that runs through our music as well. So,
we started with the sample from a YouTube channel, All Gods of the Akapisha. I think I've said that right.
Sorry, I probably wouldn't say it much better. Don't worry, I butcher everything.
America, I think, but yeah, they do like a gothic, Lovecraftian channel and stories, and it was basically that sample was from the Tiger trailer of their channel. So when I listened to it, I was like, that fits well and gets that momentum to go into the EP. So we used it. I think it worked well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool and interesting. You were mentioning the black metal as well. I could hear that. That's kind of like bringing in that darker atmosphere for sure. It's got that bit of a sinister undertone. I feel when I'm listening to the music as well. It really draws you in. So, uh, when you were working on the music,
Yeah, definitely.
when you're working on the music together, how long on average does it take you to record a song, and do you go back and forth with giving each other feedback?
Yeah,
Usually, a lot of feedback between us all. Obviously, when we're first writing the song, it's usually Carl or James will come in with a song idea, and it'll take us fucking ages to like actually piece it together. And obviously, but we're always constantly working on it before we even go into the studio, because we'll know what the end result is. But then once we get to the end result, we'll go,
it needs this bit.
Yeah, but why don't we try this instead? So it's like a constant cycle. And then eventually when you record, it's like, even when you're recording, you end up adding bits in, or we should try putting this bit in instead of there. So
it just averages what sort of how long it takes. I mean, we could write a song. We use Guitar Pro to tab it all out to get the structure right, the tempo and changes. So we'd use that. So I could put it onto there, everything, and then I send it to these, and then they add bits in and then take out. So it's just getting that balance. Then when we bring it into, this is where we practice now. So when we bring it into practice, we'll see what works and what doesn't. So
yeah. No, that's good to hear, because I think you've got to have that close-knit relationship in a band to be able to give that feedback, like you've said, take out what works, what's not going to work. And I'm always interested in the answers I get to that question, because some bands, majority of the time, whatever the genre, most people say, right, we do the music first, then we write the lyrics and all of that. But I've had some people who say, no, we do it the other way. We write the themes, the lyrics, the titles, then we put the music to it. So it's always an interesting answer, and I think
that just
it just depends on the
song. It depends for us what we do.
I think because we use MIDI to map things out, because some ideas come from the practice room, some ideas come from different people. It's quite hard to kind of see how it's going to work out until it has gone. So I personally like to map everything out and then see how I like it, and then it'll go back and forth, like you say. But sometimes the song might start off with an image or an idea about a story, and it'll come around. So there's been songs,
certain words in songs.
I think Pillars was pretty much from the get-go. That was always going to be the way it was, and it
so
kind of wrote itself, whereas Well Undone went back and forth between us two for about 2 months, 3 months, 4 months before
it's 10.5 minutes long.
so does it really?
Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, people want to hear you, not me. Don't worry. So just jump in, man. It's all cool. So what I was going to ask, I was going to ask you then. Do you have normally one of you that does the songwriting, or does it, like you're saying, just depend on whatever music and song you're working on at the time?
Usually for guitar wise and stuff like that, Carl's usually the strongest one who comes in mostly with his ideas, because he sits on modern. Puts it all together and then puts it on the computer. But lyrics wise, it's usually James and Kyle. Kyle puts them in as well. But then when we're sort of writing, say we're writing a verse, and they'll put it in. We've got like a WhatsApp group, so we'll put it in the group. And then we'll all sort of pick it and go, well, I think, what about this instead? To change it a bit. And then we'll have about 3 or 4 different versions, and we'll all sort of vote and go, well, I think this one sounds good. And then we'll all sort of pick and piece it together as a team, and then we'll go, all right, well, that's that verse now then. And then if anything else comes in, then we'll go, well, I don't think this is worded. And then we'll all...
It's definitely got to go back and forward, because if you put something online... or we do it in the group or anything like that, you could play it in the practice room and it's not much cop. And likewise, the other way, you've got to make sure that it kind of stands up on all aspects. And that's why working through MIDI in the groups and things like that always works really well for us.
It's faster as well. It's more productive. We find it more productive.
So
doing it that way, that works for us.
So follow-on question then regarding sound. So to maintain that bit of, I guess, nastiness, that griminess, do you, as a band, try and go for a balance where you don't want to sound too clean and polished, but you obviously don't want to sound like, you know, a turd that's being dragged across the floor?
It's trying to find that balance, because the last thing we want to do is sound fucking polished as fuck.
We want to have that edge.
It's like you still have that rawness, but the way we record, obviously, we can plug into a computer and do everything through digitally, but we still like to use, obviously, cabs, analog pedals and stuff like that to sit there, work our sound through, using certain mics, just so we know we're going to get that sound that we want, instead of just plugging it in and generating it on a computer and saying, right, well, we'll do this. Because you can tell, you can tell right away as a musician when you listen to a record if it's been recorded through an actual amp or a speaker, or through like a computer, like digitally generated, which it can be useful, and we do use it sometimes. Obviously, you little added effects and stuff like that, but to get the raw piece when you're actually recording
the main sound,
it takes away the fun if you don't do that, because you're in the band for a reason. You play it live, so we'd rather record as if we're doing a live situation, because we know it's going to sound the same when we play it live. So we're going to have a more accurate representation of us when we do play live. So
yeah, and that's a killer point, man, because you often you can go to see bands live and you're like, man, this is completely different to what I'm hearing, not always in a good way. And you're like, man, this sucks. So I think, and especially with the style like you're doing, I think it helps maintain that bit of authenticity, that integrity to it. And it has to have that, because I think if it goes too polished, it's just not going to work.
At the end of the day, when you're playing live, you're putting on a show as well.
Yeah.
So you can play everything absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But if you're stood there like an absolute statue and you're not looking like you're having
I hate that, man.
Your audience is going to see that. You see us fucking having a guy, having a great fucking time, and then your audience is going to reflect that. They're going to feel the energy, and that's more important than putting on a show.
Yeah, it is too much.
Do you know that's one of my gripes? I've had this conversation with the bands and friends. You know, when you've seen a band play live, and it's always not that they can't play. It's just like there's no life. They just stood there, and I'm like, man, this absolutely blows. And like after 15, 20 minutes, you're like, man, F this, I'm off. There's no. It's almost like you're watching a group of session musicians who've got together and they said, right, go on, play this for us today. That's it. And they do it, and there's no interaction, there's no energy, there's no fun, as you were saying, nothing. It's just completely soulless. I really hate those kind of shows. I'm like, man, if you're there playing that show and you want to put your music out and show you're enjoying it.
It's an important aspect of performing live as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I think when we're live as well, it's just we're supporting mostly, so we've got to basically grab the audience, and this is us, you know what I mean? Make sure they have a good time. So
being the underdog, you've got to make sure people remember you.
Hell yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's the same with anything. So just before I ask you about Pillars of Pestilence, love that title. Are there any other bands in Cumbria moment that are coming up? How's the scene there? Because the only other band I came across, and it was back in the day, and I don't know if they're still active, was Repulsive Vision. Are they still on the go?
Yeah.
And is the scene there growing? You know, is the good support for you guys?
Well, they're from like down Banner, like Cumbria is. It's a big place, so we're in Whitehaven. Banner's like an hour away. Carlisle's an hour away.
Yeah.
So it is quite a big place, but there's a strong scene, but
it depends where you go.
It's not really death metal as such. It's just metal.
It's a general alternative scene. You do have sort of cities that are really stronger than others. I think anytime we've performed around there, we've got a really, really good reception of fans and stuff, and like a big turnouts as well. We've never had a bad turnout in a gig either. So for being local gigs, like that's what you want really, because usually they're the fucking depressing ones, aren't they?
like 10 people there or something.
We like going. We've done 2 in Scotland, Edinburgh and Glasgow. They were good, so hopefully we'll continue this year and
we played
kick on.
I think we're quite in the middle. I think what you find is if you go up to like Carlisle and the Borders, there's a lot more going on with death metal kind of bands like Repulsive Vision, Blood Thread, Random Asunder and stuff. So, you know, if you're moving towards Glasgow, But if you go southern Cumbria, you're looking more black metal. Obviously, Fellfootwood's a big thing there. Southern Cumbria. We're kind of in the middle, so our town's quite small. There's a fair few bands on the go here. It's there's a couple of good little bars that support it. But if you want to go into those kind of scenes, definitely you got to go a little bit further.
Yeah. It's a bit like that in the northeast as well. It tends to be a mix of what we think, even like more mainstream styles, and like everyone kind of just thrown together, or these little pockets here and there. Not like if you in the bigger cities like Manchester and Leeds, where there is a bigger scene for say hardcore or death. It's just like a similar situation here as well. So. Moving on to Pillars of Pestilence, this is the single you recently. I can't even speak now, man. This is a single you recently released from the EP as well. I do love the cover. It's kind of the artwork for this single reminds me of like a mix of Lord of the Rings, again, the Lovecraftian stuff as well. All of that mixed together, which. And
it's like I was singing that's his Lord of the Rings, and
there's a big Lord of the Rings influence in the band as well.
Yeah. But better than the recent Amazon series, which sucked. That was so bad. But anyway, I digress. I could start. I'll get ranting about that. Yeah, this is actually probably.
We were going to that.
Yeah. Well, we could, but the music side of why we're here, all just people like, well, what's going on? It's turning into a rant show, man. That's for sure. This is probably one of my favorite tracks from the EP, outside of Beyond the Black Mire, which is coming up next. So, I just wanted again. How long did it take to record this one? Did you all work together on the writing, and what were some of the influences, both musically and lyrically? I know I've just put like 4 questions in one.
To record it, me and Carl sort of went in first to record, and then we sort of tried our best to. It was a fucking nightmare, to be honest.
I love that, honestly, man.
Sort of went in, we got things recorded the best we could.
It took me about nearly half a day just to record the go.
And then James and Brad came in, listened to it, and went, "Well, that's wrong. Yeah. Right. Well, what we need to do is all be here at the same time." So we had to redo it all again. But once we got our heads around it, it's sort of, we like to pick really stupid fucking timings for songs. Which is our problem.
That isn't in that song. That was just.
No, I was going to say,
struggle.
It was really strange with that song because I think I mentioned earlier, out of all the songs that we've done, that kind of came about the fastest. The intro tremolo riff came about, and it ran. I mean, it used to be quite full on all the way through until we got it into the practice room, and those kind of half-time bits and the more kind of boppy bits through the verses. That's where that kind of really took off. But we were happy with it within a couple of practices, really. And then when we came to record it, it just all fell apart. It took forever. But yeah, there's a couple of little things in the recording, but we're happy with it. As I say, we're not session musicians. We want the feeling, and it definitely come across and came out well in the end. So
it was just one of those songs that you thought, because it seemed like the easiest one for us to play, but when it came to recording, it was like it ended up being the hardest one. Wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, the lyrics are more on. Sort of Black's fires, fires of worship and what surrounds them. Basically, that's what I'm reading his notes. What he's on his lyrics. So, So
I like
what he's put around.
It's a lot more death metal, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a lot more.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
It's been received well, so yeah.
I was just going to ask you that and how people had received it, so that's good to hear that they definitely dug it and enjoying it. I like the video you did for it as well. I don't know if you used the eye again for that. Yeah. Well, hey man, it works. It works,
It does, yeah.
But it helps keep the cost down, man. But I love the feel to it because it's almost, man.
I was just going to say the imagery that we came back with, I mean, we must have ended up with thousands,
Oh,
but
yeah.
to get what we got out of the time that we put in compared to how long everything took with the first time round on the first EP, you know, it was an absolute no-brainer. We were getting exactly what we wanted. We could see an image, we could go further into it, we could just in, and then the same kind of came for the video. So it was the logical thing to do with the way that everything looked.
Yeah.
To do AI video for Pillars.
It's got that like it's got that movie vibe to it again. It's got like the dark horror fused with the fantasy, the iconography, everything there. As a colossal nerd, you know, I love all this stuff. So I was like, oh man, that just caught my attention straight away. So I thought, man, that's pretty dope for sure.
I mean, it's a more death metal song, so we wanted it to be more polished, the way that it was presented.
Yeah.
You know, we possibly wouldn't have presented some other songs in that way, but it just worked for the song.
Yeah. So are you planning then to do any more videos for, I know you've got one up for World Undone, you've got some others coming?
We've can, should we confirm or deny?
This is work in progress.
It's going to be very different to Pillars, but
nice.
It's in the pipeline.
Nice. Look forward to that, man. Oh, that's dope to hear. So, how did you? So when you you know, when you've got the music down, and you were saying earlier, like it's a bit of a, it depends on the song you're working on. Sometimes it can be a mix how you do things. I'm always curious when you've got those riffs and you've got it in place in the songs, and when you put the lyrics on top of it, is it just like a natural feeling that you all have as musicians? Like, yeah, this fits, this goes with the tone, it matches the dark vibes.
I think you cut out.
You cut out there for a second. Yeah, I've noticed that for a while. I've just kept going. So sorry, folks. There is. I think we're having some technical issues. It's cutting out sometimes, but I'm fighting through it. So just to repeat, when you've got the music down, you know, you've got the song there, and you've got your lyrics, and you're happy with those words. Is it just a feeling you have as musicians, like, yeah, this really goes with the feel and tone of the song. This is what we would imagine could say go with this particular sound. I think we've cut out again. Oh, I think Lovecraft's attacking us from the void. No pun intended.
Oh, yeah, you're back now.
Back now. I think it doesn't like my long-winded questions, so it's cutting us out, isn't it? Yeah, we'll just fight through it. We'll forget that one. We'll move on to the next song from the EP. So, Beyond the Black Mire, this is a real good Death Doomy one for sure. Was this one a nightmare to record, or was this one more of a fun process?
No, I think it went.
Yeah, it was a bit more fun. Black Mire. Yeah. So there's a lot more to the song, and obviously when you're recording the kind of specific parts, they've got quite a different feel. You know, that high middle eight, the big choruses and things, and then obviously the more thrashier, death kind of.
They're also the separated parts in Black Mire as well. Like you've got like clear, like your intro, your first bit that comes in, your first verse, like it's all nicely separated, different bits, but they all blend together really well.
So it went surprisingly well, because I think we were worried about the amount of transitions in that song, how we could get it down so smooth, you know, running through each part. But it went surprisingly well.
The outro was added. After.
I mean, that song was played with for ages. It's actually quite an old song. It was around probably the time
after the last EP.
Around the time
it was our first song that we've done on this new EP.
But it was quite different. The chorus used to have a really big tempo drop, and it used to go really doomy. And then I think it was a lot faster as well. And then the outro, it kind of re-entered the way it did at the start, but then the kind of bolt thrower-esque, what we'd call the new outro, that came, the tempos flattened off, so there was a lot more kind of punch in the choruses, which made it sit nicer next to songs like Pillars and things like that.
Yeah. So,
it did change loads, didn't it, throughout?
what inspired the title of the track as well, Beyond the Black Mire. It's a really catchy title, and that conveys powerful imagery in my mind as well.
Yeah, it was James. We had like a swamp sample at the start when we recorded, so yeah, we wanted that sort of vibe, and it's just about swamp monsters sacrificing to appease the great old ones gods. So that's what it's about.
Yeah, well, when we mentioned the story from the first one, that was a lot more kind of bigger picture. Initium, everything stirring the deep to end of civilization on collapse of dominion. This kind of went more into individual events and, the imagery. And we talk about a video, there's these things coming out of the swamp, monsters kind of ascending and, just basically like the utter kind of filth and the darker end of Lovecraft's kind of creatures that we wanted to represent in the song.
The intro to sort of has a swampy sort of vibe as well.
Yeah.
Sort of slowly dragged on.
Yeah. Some like bog-ridden.
We had the intro like a deaf, harmonised style, and then we went into it. So
yeah, this one I definitely I mentioned, I think at the start of the chat, hearing outside of Morbid Angel, Autopsy vibe coming through as well. I could definitely hear that influence on this one, which was really nice, really cool stuff. So I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, World Undone. But again, just for those who may be tuning in now or catch the show later, so World Undone is the title track of the EP, and it's the longest as well, and it's just over 10 minutes. So I'm going to come up with the obvious question here. Did this one take a long time to record?
Yeah.
It takes a long time to fucking play as well.
I bet.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. The song that's on the EP is actually a lot shorter than it was as well when it first came about. Yeah, there was a lot more to the intro, a lot more build. The actual intro where the music kicks in, we think it's quite like Sabbath vibe, and then it kind of picks up with the double kicks, breaks, and then comes back again. That was all purely intro, and it wasn't until we put the idea with James that he came in at a different point, and that kind of changed.
It's more like a verse.
Yeah, so it caused a bit of a rewrite. So that's it. I think we trimmed about 2 or 3 minutes off it in the end, but it definitely worked well, because once we kind of came in at the right time with James, we seen the ebb and flow happen, and the rest of it kind of wrote itself. But obviously, recording a song like that is hard work. There's no ifs or buts about it. It takes a long time.
Yeah. So we had the conquering in sections, didn't we, really? And then it was sort of like, we'll learn this section, learn this section. And so we just wrote it down as sections of the song, not as a full song. And obviously we just had to sort of approach it that way with recording as well, because there's just that many components of it. It's like, if you were just to sit down and play it, it wouldn't happen. It's just one of those songs, isn't it?
Yeah. Would you ever record any songs?
Yeah.
Would you ever record anything even longer and release it, or is there a cut-off point where you only want it to
He's probably doing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like I said, I mean, the length of a song, it's not something we predetermine. It's something that kind of happens. And I mean, our songs are never short due to the nature of them. They always kind of build and ebb and flow and back and forward. And the way we write,
try to keep that atmosphere, don't we?
I think the kind of shortest we've got it was probably Pillars, because that was quite to the point. But even then, it's not verse chorus out. It's
still more to it,
because we've got to tell the story, and if the song needs it, it gets it, and if it doesn't, it goes away. So who knows? We've definitely got it in us to write longer, but we haven't needed to so far.
We just don't do it just for having a long song as such.
Yeah, just because it has to be natural, isn't it? And because sometimes you can get like Doom, especially drone bands, where they've got a split or an EP, and it's just 2 songs. And each song is 20 minutes. I'm like, man, I could have gone back and forth to the restaurant and it's still playing. So I'm just going to drop an apology, folks, because
some of them would do doing work, but you've got to be.
It's got to keep your attention. It's got to hold you and keep you in. I mean,
like I said, if you're playing a live gig as well, and like you know, in some bands after a while, you sit there and go on, right, something needs to change now. And if it doesn't within that next couple of seconds, you've lost the audience's attention.
Yeah, you're true.
I think
you need to, if the song's going to be long, you need to keep it interesting and keep changes and different aspects going in. Because if you're just going to play a long song for the sake of it being long, it's going to be shit, isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
You're asking now.
I think that's a good point. Because I see parallels even with pro wrestling as well. At the moment, I feel one of AEW's problem is they're putting the same people on all the time, every week. And it's not always that the in-ring action is bad, but you're watching the same people. So over time, that's become boring. So you do need to freshen up or do some changes. And it's the same. You're right. If it's live, it's just the same thing constantly. You're going to lose the audience. I do want to drop a quick apology because I forgot at the start, and this is my bad, to say, could you all introduce yourselves, who you are in the band? And it'll also help me remember. So we're only 30 minutes in now, so I'm a little late. So could you all introduce yourselves, please, and who you are in the band? For those watching, I know, but for those who are watching.
I'm Luke, I'm the bassist.
I'm Kyle, I'm the guitarist.
And I'm Brad, the drummer.
And we're missing James, who's the singer and the guitarist.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. Only a 30-minute delay on that. Usually I start off with that straight away. But Sunday mind. I guess.
Okay, it's gone. So they're lost at the one who wants me to say who we are.
Yeah. So the other thing that I want to ask you as well, I was looking at some of the merchandise that you have, which is pretty cool. You've got the shirts, the World Below shirt, which is sold out now. It's a nice cover. Face of God shirt, the Gate shirt. I really like that one, actually. It's probably my favorite, come to think of it. And you also have the Void Below keyring. So did you all do the merch yourselves? They lost us again. Did you all create the merchandise yourselves?
Off the better Wi-Fi signal.
I don't know if it.
Hello.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Did you all make the merchandise yourselves?
James came up with the imagery and stuff like that, and obviously we've done the usual process of putting it through the WhatsApp group and what do you think of these lads, and we'll vote on them, and well, these are crap, or we don't want these ones, but we send them off to a company, don't we?
Yeah,
I think I can't remember what they were called.
I'm not sure they made it.
Giljan.
Gildan.
No, the good quality t-shirts, but in terms of the actual imagery, the one that sold out, that was the one that was commissioned for the first EP.
Yeah, that was a fit EP.
So that was we did get an artist to do that. We paid for the rights and everything, and that was the cover of the first EP and the first line of t-shirts, which obviously did really well. We restocked it a couple of times, and it's sold out at the moment.
It's probably a favorite.
Face of God was an old kind of symbol we used to use. Again, that was actually us. We sourced that, and James created that image on Photoshop by layer, and the skulls with the octopus and things like that. And I think the gate is actually it's Well Undone, right? It's the Well Undone thing, which we kind of give the game away before Well Undone was a thing, because the gate was out before.
Yeah.
But the keyring was made by one of our friends, Alan, who has a company called Dust and Bones Creations, and he'd laser etched all those for us and done as a deal. So that was cool, and obviously we like that it's somebody local that's produced those for us as well.
Yeah. My favorite from your shirts is the gate. I really like that one. I love the image on it, and the keyrings are nice as well. So I'm curious. I know the EP only dropped, late last year, but do you plan to do any other merchandise, or are you waiting for the next release?
We're hoping to, obviously, I think we've got to the point now, but obviously we'll keep the Well Undone t-shirts and stuff going, but we like to have sort of the new things coming available, and then the old ones sort of become obsolete, so you can't get them anymore. But then obviously we're going to create new ideas, but we've also been looking into long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, like hats, stuff like that. But it's the price, and we need to make sure that we're going to obviously get our money's worth from them as well, because it's a lot of money to put in, and obviously it's coming out of our own pockets as well.
Yeah, we're going to have to make sure if they get sold. So
so we're basically waiting to see what sells the best.
Yeah,
and then obviously t-shirts is also going to, but we're going to like branch out into different types of merch next. That'll hopefully go well.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned earlier that the single Pillars of Pestilence has had a good response. So what's the response been like to the whole EP, and what reviews so far have really caught your attention, where you feel that reviewer has really got the sense of what the music and EP is about?
There's been a few.
We haven't had a bad review, really, have we?
That's good to hear.
There's one I wanted to pick out, and I hate the fact that I can't remember.
So I'm always like that.
He does a Facebook side, so he gets all them notifications and then he puts them through as well. That's a good review.
Is he there?
Yeah, I'm here. There's the
there was an American company and a reviewer. I'm gonna say Jules, but I can't be certain. But they gave us a fantastic review, and we could see where we were streaming out on Spotify, and everything went kind of a bit mental in America overnight for us. On our scale of things, that one stood out for me. There's been a couple more recently that's gone more into the Cumbrian scene and picked us out from there. And compliments about the fact that our songs are long but hold attention, and that's kind of something I'm proud of. About the way the songs come about.
Finding new fans as well. When you obviously you look on your social medias and stuff like that, and you see people that you might not have on your own sort of social media, but you can see them sharing your stuff and saying, "Oh, listen to these guys," and that's really important to us as well, because it's like you find new fans that you didn't realise probably would enjoy your music as well. So it's like branching out to like other people, not just people in the scene.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. There's always a band or a genre someone knows. They can always turn you on to something. It's one of the reasons why, I love talking to people from music, especially extreme metal and hardcore. And it's hence why I've set up a second channel recently. Well, I did set it up recently, and YouTube kindly deleted it. So I had to kind of get that restored and come up with it again, and I've had to come up with a different name to Mosh Shinobi for that one, just so it doesn't happen again, to avoid it, which kind of sucks, because would have made sense to keep kind of the same name, but oh well. Anyway, but yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I still feel word of mouth is very important, even with all the social media. As we said, there's always something somebody knows. So do you have any shows coming up soon where you're going to be playing, which you're going to support the EP?
We were meant to be playing locally, but we don't really know the outcome of it yet. So we're still working on.
I think because we took that much time off with Undone, because we went in around May, June to start recording it. And the first EP we had it done in about 3 days, whereas this it ended up running out to the end of the year nearly. And we wanted to focus on that. We did do a couple of gigs while that was going on, but we're kind of out of the swing of things. We've just got a new practice room, so things are moving again. We met up last week and it went really well.
We're just sort of finding our feet again.
I think that's the best way to put it. We're finding our feet. There is talk of 1 or 2 local things, but I think past that, we're going to keep it under wraps a little bit until we know more, and then, then we can announce what we plan to do later in the year, really.
Yeah, and January's always a bit slow as well. January and Feb, just after the holidays.
Once the festival season sort of start picking up, and we can start applying for them hopefully with our new EP out, people will be able to see what we've got out for sale basically. But there's no rush for anything for us either. Obviously we love playing gigs and stuff like that, but we want to start investing ourselves into maybe creating a new album.
Nice. So when would you?
We want to create a big concept album as well.
So maybe at the end of the year to drop that.
Next year.
It'll probably be a bit longer because, to be honest,
it takes us that long to create everything for an EP that we want to make sure that we've got all the components.
We started writing new materials.
There's about 4 or 5 songs flying around at the moment. One of them's kind of the standout. So we may potentially go down the route of a single for that one, which would mean us holding back from more gigs. I mean, we would never kind of cancel anything if we were all available to do it. Like you said, we love playing live, so we'd always jump at it. But if we can get this music video on the go for Black Mire and then potentially look at one of these new songs, which again we see as a massive move on. There's a big difference between the first and the second EP. And this is a step forward for us again. So it is something we want to get out there. So, to build anticipation for an album. But the album will have to come when it's right, when it's ready.
Fingers crossed we're going to be hopefully looking into going back up to sort of Edinburgh, Glasgow, because we've played there before and it's been an absolutely great night whenever we played, especially all the other bands as well.
Yeah.
And we really enjoy playing.
Glasgow and Edinburgh is really good.
So, but we're going to hopefully in the next couple of months try it back up there and then hopefully start moving our way down.
There's any bands there that want to put us on?
Yeah, if wants to play with us,
what was that? Sorry.
If anybody wants to play with us, give us a shout.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, hit them up. All the links will be in the description, folks. Definitely do it. Especially from the UK. Then, if you run any fests or you've got any shows coming up, bands who've been on this show, and I know some of you run some, and you want to book Void Below, then hit them up for sure. So, you mentioned there that evolution from the first EP to this one. So is that going to continue with the full album, both music and lyrically? Are you going to evolve that sound further, or are you still going to kind of retain the core essence, what makes Void Below, that darkness in the music with the Lovecraftian stuff? I
think we're always going to have that sort of dark aspect. Yeah. It's also going to have that sort of theme to it because it's sort of what we've created.
It's a progression of what we've already.
The more thing we're going to be working on is obviously like our songwriting skills, the added effects of like the way we piece songs. It's more working on our own abilities more than what we need to do with the music. Yeah. As separate musicians, we find better sounds and better equipment. Yeah. Obviously, when I first started, I had nothing. I basically just had a bass and amp to plug into. But now I've obviously looked at pedals and stuff like that. Kyle and James, they're into the pedals and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just an evolution of like your own character in yourself in the band instead of sort of what you want to do with the music. I think.
No, you're right.
But we're heading in the right direction. Hopefully, of like we work well together as a band. We know what sounds good. Yeah. We know if someone has an idea and it doesn't sound very good, we'll say, "Well, no, we're not doing that."
I think like the first EP to me was more like a blueprint of what we were because it came about quite quick. We were in lockdown. We had the ideas going around, and the songs we were happy with at the time. And Ancient Deity still stands in the middle of the set and holds up to being our kind of go-to. But then we went really into it with the next EP, and everything evolved. I think looking at the songs that are starting to come out now. It's that evolution again. It's going more into it and getting more out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah. So I've got a question for you, Luke. How does it differ playing in Void Below to your punk background? I'm interested in this because I'm a huge punk hardcore guy as well.
I've actually got to be able to play well. It was definitely an eye-opener for me. To start with, more for the tuning, because obviously I've been in punk bands, it's all straightforward 4/4, E standard tuning, and then I've suddenly come to this band and they're like, "Oh, drop all your strings down, but you can't physically hear anything." And I was like, "Well." They're like, just play this, and I'm looking at them going like, I can see what you're doing, but I can't hear anything. It's just like low down. So it took me a long time to adjust to that. And then
we're only 2 steps down mine.
To me, it was like I don't know what's going on. But no, it's definitely been a learning curve. But now I've got my head around it, and I'm sort of I've listened to the lads and obviously the bands that they listen to. They all share new music and stuff like that. it's coming out. So I've listened to more of the different styles. And
we took him to see Decapitated.
Decapitated. I've got my exit in and that. But no, it's definitely an eye opener, and obviously I enjoy all sorts of music, and I'm listening to anything. So, but it's been nice to have something that I can still bring my own.
You've still got a free range.
Let's
go and do what you want.
The certain, obviously they'll come in with an idea and the certain bass lines, and I just used to sort of follow the main guitar riffs, but then obviously now I've got my head around it, I can branch out and do my own little.
So like in Black Maya, he puts this bass part under the chorus, and we wouldn't have wrote that, but he brung it and we were like, yeah, that works perfect. So yeah, he brings them type of ideas and bass lines I don't think normal bassists would.
But then I also bring, I can sort of bring the sort of the punk attitude on stage as well, where you're going to bassist. You're going to bassist still.
So if anyone sees us live,
they'll hide in the corner and want to be not hidden, whether I'm standing on a fucking speaker in front of
you. we all bring our A game when we're live.
Yeah, has to be. No, that's good to be. So, so what do you all enjoy about playing this mix of death metal and doom, and then bringing the other elements of music? You know, I know Brad, you mentioned black metal as well. So, what is it that's enjoyable about it for you all?
Is the more death black metal?
No, it's the atmosphere with black metal, isn't it? It's like kind of headphones on, eyes closed, off you wander kind of thing, and that's. You know, I do like death metal, but I wouldn't have said I was a massive death metal fan before this. I loved like bands like Decapitated, Cataclysm, things like that. But more so, I prefer the melodeath and Swedish stuff. But with this band, because it has got the doom element and it has got the atmospheric kind of side of it, it does really play off that black metal thing. And as I said, the ebb and the flowing and the different vibes and not having to go a million mile an hour all the time in a death metal band is something that I really enjoy, because you can go black metal, but you can put groove in there. You can strip things right back.
Yeah,
we've got for pulse.
We do have a lot of groove, don't we?
Yeah, and I think we've not really mentioned that. I think that's something we do kind of pride ourselves on. You know, it's something we really try to go for.
You can hear it more in the verses, in Pillars and stuff like that. The groove, because we are big Pantera fans, so we try and keep the groove as well.
So do you think that makes you stand out then, having that groove that gives you that special identity where you're a bit different?
It's quite catchy.
It's been commented on. Obviously, a lot of bands have said about
it. Not cliche, but still have something that a listener can sort of grasp.
Because you want people to enjoy the music, but you want people to move to the music as well. And if you just hammer them with chords and these massive solos, it's fine. But you want your audience to move with the music, and you want them to be able to not sort of dance, but you know what I mean, like kick fuck out of it.
There's the punk side.
You know what I mean? You need sort of, even if you're going to sit in the back and nod your head, you want something to nod your head to.
Yeah, that was one of the most beautifully put answers I've ever heard in the show, Luke. That was awesome. Love that. But it's true. Mine was really high class. Yeah. Don't worry about it. If you'd heard my former radio shows, when I should just say, eloquence is probably not something that was associated with them, where it's like, how many F-bombs can you drop in a sentence? It was a very hyper-infused show with lots of noise. May bring back at one time. Just my mind's gone now. There's something you said I wanted to follow up on. That was it. So, are there any other themes, ideas that you would ever do as a band, outside of what you're doing currently, maybe as a one-off EP or something?
I don't know, because we seem to be traveling in the direction of every EP is becoming so different to each other. Like if I listen to the first EP now compared to the second one, it's a completely different league. So it's more interesting to see what we're going to come up with next.
We'll still keep the Lovecrafty and
Yeah,
dark
I think
vibe.
that just works so well for
Yeah.
us because we've talked about all the different aspects and like groove, black metal, death metal, like those lyrics and those themes you can tailor to anything. I think you mentioned that earlier on about how it can be put into so many different contexts. I couldn't see us doing anything different. I could just see us going more into it, which is the way
Getting
we're
deeper
going.
and deeper. Yeah.
We're going to get darker and darker, really, don't we?
Deeper into the void.
yeah, got lost in the void. Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's really, really cool to hear. So, whenever we get to the end of an episode, I always like to give guests the opportunity, obviously, to shout out the band because that would be dumb if they didn't. But shout out anything else that they would like to as well. So the floor is yours, guys. Feel free to promote, shout whatever you want.
Go on, you know your Facebook and stuff.
Go on, man, it's all on you.
Can we shout out Dustin Bones Creations, obviously, for all his keyrings. He's a good friend of ours as well, called Alan, and he does some really good stuff.
His wife, Joni, I Love You, 13 photography, really good music photographer. Yeah, she's done photos for us. She's done live stuff in the past, and loads for our friends and people that we know in bands, and she's definitely worth checking out as well. Anyone else?
Turner Tobacco and Stella. If you ever want to endorse me, this is the way to endorse me. That'll make me happy.
But
It's where they're going, isn't it?
I don't know. We're quite quiet. We live in a small town. We keep ourselves to ourselves. But them two do a lot for a lot of musicians around here. So
yeah, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Well, folks, I do want to thank everybody who's watched live or watching later.
Just a big shout out to our friends as well, really.
Yeah.
And the people that obviously listen to us, put music and our merch and stuff like that. And
yeah, especially like anyone who's bought the merch, the t-shirts, bought the music through Bandcamp, that comes right to us, and we really appreciate it because any money we make, we just put it right back into the band. And it just makes things possible for us. So,
more merch.
Enough, it really does make a difference.
Just the people that enjoy our music and
so
want to
merch, so we put more merch on.
Yeah, no, it's right.
It's more for town than drinking Stella, so I use.
Tell you, man, if I do a show again, Luke, I'm going to have to get you to do a promo for it for a radio show. It'll be hilarious, dude.
No problem. We've got cardboard on from the lights here.
No, I agree on Bandcamp. I'm always telling people the best way to support the bands because it goes direct to them, especially if you want them to continue making music too, for sure. So I want to thank everybody who's either watching live right now or watches later on the podcast. Just a reminder, folks, the future, Mosh Extreme Metal Hardcore interviews will take place on the second Mosh Shinobi channel, which is Hardcore Noise. I'm still working on it. So Mosh Shinobi will just be like ninjas, samurais, martial arts related stuff. But I'm having to do interviews on here at the moment, just until the other channel hopefully doesn't get deleted again. Please don't, YouTube. Thanks to you all for coming on, putting up with my verbal babblery. It's been great. I've had a right good laugh with you both on and off air. And hit me up, anytime if you want to come back on and talk about future releases or on here or the other. Hopefully the other channel will still be there. And don't forget to follow them, folks, on all the social medias as well. And I shall see you on the next episode of, I'll just say Mosh Shinobi for now. Because I don't know what's going to happen with the other channel. Hopefully it's allowed to stay. And yeah, folks, and it's where I now look like I've been taken in the void where I hit end stream and I look like I'm possessed. So here we go. End stream. Here's the delay time.